So the challenge that we were talking about was around Brexit mitigation, and
you went to Brexit straight away.
The soft topics, and I think the consensus around the table was that don't worry about it. It's kind of just continue what you're doing. Nobody really knows where it's going to end up, so kind of continue with our strategy. And then the point that we were just talking about was that actually with our kind of global expansion that we're looking at is just start focusing away from Europe, like exclude them from the overall plans until we know what happens.
I think we were talking about, my challenge was how to get people who don't want to do any engagement at all with tech to take it on. And we were looking at things like return on investment isn't always money. It's influence, it's ideas, getting your ideas across. We were looking at always tailoring things to the audience, to the people involved. The analysis you have to do, those sort of things.
What makes a leader of the future to try and break down some of these silos and barriers and this marketing, this department's only got this particular budget, this one's got something else. So I was sort of coming from the top, and how can we have better future leaders? We were talking about leaders that, instead of just employing leaders on boards and looking at their past experiences, it's about finding better ways to assess, to see if they are any good at self-regulating, finding curious leaders, lifelong learners, totally different people that have tried totally different disciplines, people that are self-aware, and putting in place reverse mentoring as well. So that was in summary. It was how can we find better leaders for the future?
Our challenge was which industries could benefit from disruption, and we had lots of ideas. We started with the big ones, healthcare and education, where there are definitely steps going towards innovation, but much more to be done. Then we moved on to the disruption of local government and the construction industry, particularly the planning process and approvals and how that feels very, very backdated and slow. And then we went on to agricultural innovation and things like waste and recycling, because we all know everyone's buying too much, consuming too much, wasting too much, and something has to be done about it.
So we were talking about how we can shift my business from thinking like a consultancy to thinking as a product business. And actually, the realisation I've come to over the last 20 minutes is actually it starts with me, in that I'm still thinking as a consultancy and a product business, whereas actually what we do is serve our clients with whatever solution it is that they need. So what I need to do is work out how we communicate that product set together as one vision rather than as two separate things, and then hopefully that will roll through the business.
So we were talking about the different ways of working and how my business wants to sort of move to sort of a remote working basis where people who maybe don't get the opportunities to work in the industry can do. So there's quite a few really good points that were brought up by the table. One of them was the actual, challenge of building relationships virtually rather than in person. So obviously that, from the understanding of that takes a bit more time and a slightly different way to do these things, but that can be overcome. Then there's another thing was that certain roles will probably suit the remote working better than others. And then there was a really good point at the end as well about the importance and the hard work of protecting employees from simple things as all the way through to mental health issues and stuff, and making sure people are all right when they're at a distance from you. So there was some really good feedback from that.
I equally felt like I was on a sofa, I think. I just used it as a download opportunity, and these guys who were really patient with me. I think what I realised is there's an awful lot going on that I'm still trying to work out, and everyone here had some really great questions and probably had some insight that they didn't get airtime to share. So what I realised is I probably need more sounding boards and people to just kind of download and get some feedback on, is this the right plan? Am I trying to do too much? And is this the right direction? So, yeah, really interesting.
So I was asking for advice on the pros and cons of remote working, because we've had one issue since we started doing this. We've been growing really fast. Remote working has worked well. And there are a couple of really interesting things. First, yes, I realised I was on a couch and I desperately need people to speak to. The bigger the business gets, the faster it grows. Even though I have a business partner, I'm kind of getting lonely because I don't have that many people around me we were in this, and my dad and I fight over it because he's been retired way too long and ran very different businesses. So realizing I was lonely was interesting. One of the things we spoke about is that if you want remote workers, it might be helpful to identify people who have routines. If someone doesn't have a normal routine, remote working is probably going to be something they fail at, or more likely. I also realized that I tend to tell, not lead people to conclusions when they're away from the office. If they're in the office, I think I probably naturally guide them through, but when I'm sending an email, it's just a tell. And that doesn't help with confidence, which might have been part of the challenge. And then finally, all of this stuff that I've spent months figuring out, all of these people, like, they just knew it. All of it. And it was obvious. And it's taken me months, and it's been hard for the employee, and it's been really tough on me. And I should have asked sooner.
I think similar kind of experience in terms of being on a sofa. I was really sort of challenged on where my passions lie, I think, and ensuring that I've got the foundations set for the growth of the business. It sounded like I'm doing some of the right things around setting in place the people on the team to do that kind of stuff. So hopefully in a few months' time we'll have achieved some of those things, and it helps with growth, and I don't need to try and clone myself any more times, or maybe get some sleep. But no, it was a really useful process, and yeah, great group of people.
Well, I guess my challenge was to kind of have the confidence to take what I've created at the record label and go it alone, I guess. I think that lack of confidence comes from setting up a business when I was 21 and it failing. I think that has really stayed with me for quite a while. But I think what resonated with me was someone saying to me, you're not 21 years old anymore, like you've got a proven strategy of what you're doing. And it was quite interesting, like talking to someone about how much money what I do can make, and like tottling up and thinking, God, I'm really underpaid. So yeah, I think just having someone to talk to is just really important.